I want to give you a very good example. There's a time when I was hired to work as a constituency manager under Parliamentary Service Commission. And I reported on the first day, and I was not part of that political system when they were looking for the votes. I was on the opposing side. But when the MP won, because he saw my input and my skill capacity, he was able to imbibe me into the system as a constituency manager. The first day I reported, all the staffs walked out of the office and went and sat under some tree, because they felt like, who is this young man who has been brought to lead us? And yet he was in the opposing side. And it was a very bad situation, because this next day I reported, they had closed the office. Literally they were trying to pull my buttons into me getting angry. Maybe we could fight, or we could exchange. And even now, the MP who had employed me will now know, indeed, this young man does not know how to handle his own emotions. You mean he ended up fighting? But because I was self-aware, because I understood my limits, I knew what to do, and I was able to still get my office and still work with the very team. It takes self-awareness, it takes emotional intelligence to know how do I work with people who have divergent opinions, people who feel maybe you've come to replace them, or you look more knowledgeable and therefore their knowledge will not make sense anymore. And like I told you, when we are looking at leadership, at the end of the day, we are looking in terms of resources. Where are you capacitated? And we define leadership, or leadership still cascades down to politics. He who gets what, when, and how. So there's that of who gets what. I've joined a political system. I didn't work for them. I am getting a constituency manager job. When that particular period they had won, and how the MP gave me the opportunity. And like I told you, in leadership is about resource also. You will come whereby you are deciding what resources goes where and how. People are going to challenge you. So if you are not self-aware, you will end up fighting, you'll end up throwing tantrums, you'll end up being depressed. But if you are self-aware, you know which comment to respond to and which one to allow slide. So as we look at that, I want you to understand that you must be very self-aware if you are to make a great leader. The next is you must value other people's time. You must value other people's time as a leader. This one is even speaking to me too, because that's an area I'm trying to work on myself. If you want to be a great leader, you must value people's time. Never take people for granted. No? Never make people feel like you are taking them for granted. If you schedule a meeting, try to catch up in time. It builds the trust people have in you. It builds the respect people have in you. So you must value other people's time. Then lastly, under habits, though that is not the whole thing done, we still have more time to be looking at them, is you must create leaders. You only make a great leader if you're able to nurture other leaders. Everything finds a way to reciprocate itself. So if you want to be a great leader, bring the best out of people. Don't step on people. Don't be a CEO in a company, and when you are leaving, they cannot even get a replacement from your own company. Then it means you are not a leader. When leaders are leaving, they plant leaders everywhere so that when they move, others take over. So think beyond yourself. Think beyond the company. Think beyond, let your leadership be sustainable. Ask yourself, if I was able to leave this place, will somebody else be able to give them this particular position? Because I have mentored them. You cannot be a CEO who is reporting to the office from Monday to evening every day, from Monday to Friday. You must have people who can do what you are doing when you're not around. Don't hold information, share experiences with them, show people what they can do. So that if you're not in office today, somebody can still do what you do, and nobody will notice that even the CEO was not around. If you are the person, everything has to be done by you, then that one, you are a micromanager, and we'll be looking at types of leadership and how to be able to navigate through them. So you must also be able to build leaders, create others, empower others, bring out the best in them, inspire them, coach them, teach them, let them know when they sit with you, they don't remain the same. And by God's grace, you are able to rise and become a great leader.